Dr. Kimberly. These are your appointments for highly induction at the conference for our church.
All right, I'll have to read them over.
And so we know you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning. You can take comfort in knowing that it's about 20 degrees hotter up here than down there, so. I knew you'd feel sorry for me, friend. So today we are welcoming our new minister, Sharon, Pastor Sharon. Next Sunday, if you look at the long forecast, it's not going to be as warm as this. So, a few announcements. On Tuesday, July 3rd, Zoomer at 6:30. And GRASP is in the library at 6:30 as well. Wednesday, July 4th, the closed closet is closed, and so is Table of Plenty, correct, Cheryl? And then the following week, it's the Berwick team again, correct? Okay. So next week, no closed closet and no Table of Plenty. Any other announcements that we need to share this morning? Okay. Oh, Cheryl?
I'm sorry. July 9th, we're going to get together and work on fair Christmas Day party here at the church.
Okay. I just thought I would remind people for the liturgist, on July 8th is Zoa, and July 15th is Charles, the 22nd is Cheryl, and the 29th is Mary, and the first Sunday in August is myself. So I'm going to be trying to find people to kind of carry through to August to Labor Day. For the next, so if I don't talk with you today, I'll send you an email to see if you're available. And then one last announcement, Sam and the children are in North Dakota. So we do have the Vacation Bible School coming. I have some flyers here if anyone would like some to give out to anybody. It's July 24th, 25th, and 26th. I think that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this year. Am I right about that? So there will be some flyers downstairs if you want to take some to give out. Any more announcements? Okay, we have a little order of business here this morning before we get moving, and that is. Next Sunday, July 8th, we are moving to 9 o'clock. This morning, we're going to decide whether we want to be upstairs or downstairs. And when you're thinking about this, I just want to put this out there because it is quite a bit of work to sit up and take downstairs. And it usually falls to 2 people. So just keep that in mind. If we vote for downstairs, would you be willing to kind of help out on that end or not? But anyways, the question before you is, do you want to stay upstairs or downstairs? I guess Gail and Frank, could you count the people's votes? Excuse me? Yeah, I will. Yeah. So first we will be voting on whether or not we want it upstairs, starting next week at 9 o'clock. Upstairs next week at 9.
Eddie.
And we are counting the children.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. They're here.
I would say the upstairs has
Well, just to keep things proper, those who would like it downstairs, would you please raise your hand?
Great, that's it.
Okay. So I guess
Fine with me.
I guess next week we will be here at 9 o'clock upstairs. Okay, that's all I have. Pastor Sharon, are you going to go on? Okay. Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, so, we've been coming to church for a number of years. And we're always looking to get more people in. I thought since we have a beautiful parking lot up there, but a front door, I think it would be good if people could park out back and get inside, and walk from the front door. And when they leave, walk out the front door, so people see on Sunday that that's the service here. And then it's not that much more. And if we just go in and out the door, and maybe somehow out there went cooler, taking flyers out to go upstairs. And then they can see that there are people here on Sunday where we always come in the back. My wife went there, we're going to start practicing it, and I think it's a good thing.
I agree with you. Yep. When I was growing up in this church, we all came through the front. There was no back door until later on, so you're right. Yeah. There was no parking lot. What am I talking about? So a good point, Frank, for us to think about. Good point. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So at this time, I would call you to the call to worship. Oh, we do have a hymn first. Yes. This is the day of a new beginning. Verses 1, 3, and 5 in your Methodist hymnal 383. 1, 2, 3, and 5. 1, Please be seated. Okay, now would you join me in the call to worship found printed on the board on the wall behind me. We have been called to face God's gracious ways of living. We are to leave the past behind us and walk into these new days of ministry.
Sometimes we'd rather remember how things used to be. Sometimes we are afraid to be silent.
But this is a new day, and Christ is sharing freedom with us. It is a day to put aside all fear, to leave doubting behind, and to take courage in God's loving call. Would you please join me in the morning prayer? Lord Jesus, we wish to follow you wherever you lead us. Grant us the power of your Holy Spirit to make this a total commitment. Strengthen our faith and help us to trust you completely so that we may be faithful disciples, serving you wherever the cost. Amen. Reading this morning comes from 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 1 and 2 and 6 through 14. So it's here. Okay, verses 1 through 2 and 6 through 14. And it came to pass when the Lord was about to take Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, and Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. Then Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Bethel." But Elisha said, "As the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to the Jordan." But he said, "As the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So the two of them went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood facing them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the Jordan. And Elijah took his mantle, rolled it up, and struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them could cross over to dry ground. And so it was, when they had crossed over, that Elijah said to Elisha, "Ask, what may I do for you before I am taken away from you?" Elisha said, "Please let a double portion of your spirit be upon me." So he said, "You have asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so for you. But if not, it shall not be so." Then it happened, as they continued on and talked, that suddenly a chariot of fire appeared, with horses of fire, and separated the two of them. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen." So he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and tore them into 2 pieces. He took up the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. Then he took the mantle of Elijah and that had fallen from him, and struck the water, and said, "Where is the Lord God, Elijah?" And when he had also struck the water, it divided this way and that, and Elisha crossed over. Would you please stand for our hymn of praise, Be Thou My Vision, number 451.
Before I begin to read the gospel, I just want to say, I remember someone who was on a sermon on a hot day, and it was a real short sermon. She said, "It's hell, you don't want to go there, amen." Or it's hot like hell, whatever. Anyway, our gospel reading is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, beginning with verse 51. When the days drew near for him to be received up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers ahead of him, who went and entered the village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. But the people would not receive him, because his face was set toward Jerusalem. And when his disciples James and John saw it, they said, "Lord, do you want us to bid fire come down from heaven and consume them?" But he turned and rebuked them, and they went on to another village. As they were going along the road, a man said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." To another he said, "Follow me." But he said, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." But he said to him, "Leave the dead to bury their dead. For as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God." Another said, "I will follow you, Lord, but let me first say farewell to those at my home." Jesus said to him, "No one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God." May God bless the reading of this word. Let us pray. Oh Lord, we have heard the words of your scriptures. Now we pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts will be acceptable in your sight, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Life is often compared to a journey, and today we begin a journey of ministry, of learning, spiritual growth, and service together. I considered telling you the story of my life and my faith journey, but decided you might be here a lot longer than you want to be on this hot morning if I did that. Instead, you will hear my story throughout the coming weeks in bits and pieces. as we go along together. But today I would like to share with you a few thoughts on the readings we heard this morning, which are particularly appropriate for the journey that begins today. In today's reading from the Old Testament, Elisha picks up the mantle passed on to him by Elijah and continues the ministry begun by Elijah. Elijah had done marvelous works, defeating the pagan priests, standing up to Queen Jezebel, and even bringing a widowed son back to life. He was much loved by the people of Israel. And as it became clear to Elijah that he would be left alone, he entreated, he begged Elisha to give him a double portion of his spirit. And then Elisha was gone, taken up to heaven in a fiery chariot, and only his mantle was left behind for Elijah. Today I am symbolically picking up the mantle that Pastor Skip left behind. I have heard that Pastor Skip was much loved and that his ministry with you has blessed this community. Now that he has left you, you may find it difficult to let go of the past and move on. So naturally, I am somewhat nervous and anxious to be standing here as your new pastor. Will we be able to work together to continue the good ministry that Pastor Skip began? I think changes can be very difficult as we let go of what is familiar and move on. I too am leaving behind the church where I have worshiped since I retired 6 years ago. I am used to the way things are done at the United Methodist Church in Cape Corpus, and I will miss the people that I've come to know and love. So naturally, I'm grieving those losses too. And even though I was a pastor for over 25 years, I feel out of practice. My mind is not as good as it used to be, so if I forget your names, or if I can't think of a theological question the answer to a theological question, give me patience, and I'll look it up for you. But we will figure it out. Like Elisha, I think I need a double portion of faith in the Spirit of God to be with me. So now it is time to set our face for the future. Our gospel reading this morning states that Jesus set his face toward Jerusalem. I've seen people set their faces. Perhaps you have too. You've seen the determination in their eyes, in their tone of voice, and in the line of their shoulders. As followers of Jesus, we are encouraged to set our faces and journey with Jesus with that same degree of determination. We are all on a journey of life and learning, spiritual growth, and service. And as with any journey, there are choices to make. There are always choices. We made a choice already this morning to worship in the sanctuary at 9 o'clock next Sunday. But some choices have been made for us, like me being appointed as your pastor. Let me hasten to add, I am excited and happy to be here. I'm looking forward to see where God leads us. Other choices need to be handled with more creativity or tact. For example, what changes, if any, should we make in the coming weeks and months? What work needs to be done in the days to come? Our Christian journey involves choices and commitments. As Jesus heads for Jerusalem, he hears from 3 would-be followers who must make a choice. Jesus tells one would-be disciple and us to count the cost. Jesus tells the man up front that following him will mean sacrifices. Can the man put up with the hardships of life on the road, depending on the hospitality of others? Following Jesus is not easy. So Jesus challenges us to move beyond the accepted standards of safety, beyond our preoccupation with a job and financial security. We must choose to live faithfully. Have we considered the cost? Another disciple wanted to wait until his parents died, or his father in particular. Most likely the man's father was not dead or even near death. Probably the man meant, I will follow you after father has died. And that could have been months or years ahead, who knows? But Jesus tells us there is an urgency to his ministry. No time to wait until our familiar obligations are at an end. The time to act is now, he said, not later. Psychologists tell us that every time we have a good impulse and don't act on it right away, the less likely we are to act on it at all. I know this is true for me. Sometimes I feel that I should call or write someone a note, perhaps to say thank you or offer words of encouragement or to say that I'm praying for them. But when I put it off till later, I find I usually don't do it at all. So I need to do it when God tells me to do it. The third would-be follower wants to say goodbye to family and friends, which seems like a reasonable request. Might just take a few moments or a day at the most. But Jesus said, no one who puts a hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. There are some people whose hearts are in the past. They will forever walk looking backward and thinking wistfully of the good old days. I've done that myself. Growing up on a farm in Indiana, however, I occasionally had to drive the tractor when it was time to plow the fields. I soon discovered that if I looked down at the ground between those tractor wheels, or constantly looked back to see where I'd been, I ended up plowing a very crooked road, and I learned to focus far ahead on a goal at the end of the field and head straight for that. William Willimon tells the story of a great preacher who, at the seashore, with his little grandson when they met an old man. The old man was disgruntled, and to add to all his troubles, he had a slight touch of sunstroke. The little boy had been listening but had not picked it up quite correctly. When they left the grumbling complaints of the old man, the little boy turned to his grandfather and said, "Granddad, I hope you never suffer from a sunset." As followers of Jesus, we set our faces forward, not to the sunset, but to the dawn. The watchword of the kingdom is not backwards, but forwards. Anyone who follows Jesus will have to keep focused on a new life and not the old existence. Dr. Warren W. Wiersbe put it like this: do not say, why were the former days better than these? You do not move ahead by constantly looking in the rearview mirror. The past is a rudder to guide you, not an anchor to drag you down. We must learn from the past, but not live in the past. Or as Thomas Holcroft once put it, the past is a guidepost, not a hitching post. At this stage in our journey, I'm sure it's tempting to look back at the way it used to be. You may think about Pastor Skip or other churches you attended in the past, and that's true for me as well as for you. It is tempting for me to stand here today and wonder, why didn't I stay at the church on the Cape, where I knew a lot of people? You know as well as I do, though, that unless my mind is on the work and mission of this congregation, unless my mind is focused on God's will, I will not be an effective pastor here. We can look back and wish for things to return to the way they were and the way things have always been done, or we can look ahead and together bring some positive ideas to think about as we plan the future. I would guess that some of you have some great ideas about some new ways we can be in ministry here in Berwick. Wonderful things have happened on our separate journeys of ministry in the past. It is very important to think about where we have already been and what we have already done, and to learn from those things. Some things will continue, and we will cherish those traditions. Some things will change as we begin our journey together and look to the future. With God's guidance, wonderful things will happen in the future because our journeys with God come together. It may not be easy. Jesus warns us that following him involves all sorts of tough choices and difficult demands. The good news is that we do not journey alone. God goes with us. Just as God was with Elijah as he picked up Elijah's mantle, and God was with Jesus as he set his face toward Jerusalem. And God will be with us each step of the way, guiding and directing us as we choose our path, picking us up if we stumble and fall, and rejoicing when something good happens. God's promise is real, and the Spirit will guide our journey as we follow Christ. May our journey together give glory to God. Amen. And now let us join in our hymn of response. Oh Jesus, I have promised.
looks like we share our joys and concerns. And if you notice in the bulletin, we restart the prayer list on the announcement side at the beginning of each month. So are there special joys and concerns this morning that you would like to share with me?
Yes, prayer for my son James. This month is preparing for his new
Sylvia,
And the lost and forgotten.
the lost and forgotten. Anyone else? Let us turn to God in prayer. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks on this Sunday before the 4th of July for the freedom to worship as we please. We give you thanks for this space, even though it is very warm, that we can come together to worship you in this holy space. We pray for our country, for its leaders, our local leaders in our towns, and our congregation. We especially pray for James, who is beginning a new job. And we pray for Sylvia, the lost and forgotten. We pray for all those who may be making choices today, choices that may have impact on others, choices that will change their lives. We pray that as we leave this place, we will have been blessed by your word. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Now we will have the offering. Ushers, please come forward.
While we await Dale and Brian to come down and pick up the offering plates, I just want to say just a few words about the offertory. As you know, starting today and into October, we use this time we use this time for people in the congregation or in the community to make presentations as they would like. So it's open to anybody and everybody who would like to do something special for the church and for themselves too throughout the summer. So we're starting off today with Eileen Dumont, who will be playing piano and playing a solo. And this is a great step for Eileen because last year was her very first step into performance. And she had never done it before, and I was hoping that she would take the challenge and come back again, and she has. So please know that it's entirely appropriate to applaud if you enjoy the rendition. And what Eileen is playing this morning is a blessed morning.
Merry Thanksgiving. The Lord be with you. And also with you. Lift up your hearts. We lift them up to the Lord. Let us give thanks to the Lord our God. It is right to give him thanks and praise. Almighty God, as our nation prepares to celebrate its heritage, it is fitting that we give you thanks and praise. You created a land rich in resources and set before the founders and pioneers of our nation an opportunity beyond measure to build a reign of justice, peace, and freedom that might be a blessing to all the world. We cannot congratulate ourselves on what we have done with this creation and with these opportunities. But when we consider your bounty and your mercy and see afresh the dream you set before us as we join with your people in every land on earth and with all the company of heaven in your unceasing praise. Holy, holy, holy Lord, God of power and might, heaven and earth are full of your glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. Most of all, gracious God, we thank you that you gave your Son, Jesus Christ, to be for us the way, the truth, and the life. He proclaimed justice to all people, good news to the poor, release for prisoners, sight for the blind, and freedom for the oppressed. On the night he was arrested and sentenced to death, he took bread, broke it, gave it to his disciples, and said, "Take, eat. This is my body which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And when the supper was over, he took the cup. Gave thanks to you and said, "Drink from this, all of you. This is the blood of the new covenant poured out for you and for many for the forgiveness of sins. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me." And so, in remembrance of these your mighty acts in Jesus Christ, we offer ourselves in praise and thanksgiving as a holy and living sacrifice in union with Christ offered for us, as we proclaim the mystery of faith.
Christ is risen. Christ is risen again.
Pour out your Holy Spirit on us gathered here, and on these gifts of bread and wine, that in this holy sharing we may recognize the Christ, who gave his body and blood for us all. Make them be for us the body and blood of Christ, that we may be for the world the body of Christ, redeemed by his blood. Hasten the day when the prophet's dream shall come to pass, when justice shall roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. When nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. This we pray through your Son, Jesus Christ, with the Holy Spirit in your holy church. All honor and glory is yours, Almighty God, now and forever. Amen. And now with the confidence of children of God, let us pray the prayer of our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Because there is one loaf, we who are many are one body, for we all partake of the one loaf. The bread which we break is the sharing in the body of Christ. The cup of which we give thanks is sharing in the cup of Christ, the blood of Christ. The table is prepared and all are welcome to come forward, receive the bread and then the cup and then turn to your feet. Or you may kneel and eat. Now as we close, we will sing Let There Be Peace on Earth.